It's your Friday guy, Charles. Sorry I haven't been posting in a while. I've been really busy. I'm at home here in Florida. I'm helping care for my grandma. Lots going on. My sincerest apologies. I'm going to try to get every video from now on time on Fridays. Now, of course, watch that not happen. But either way, here's my video. There's a lot of things that cause us anxiety when we go travel as trans guys. So since there's a lot of areas that cause us some stress, anxiety, let's break it down into a few different topics. So first, body scan. The dreaded TSA body scans. They've gotten a lot better, and I actually did a video for my own channel recently, charlesasher, on TSA body scans, so I don't want to totally rehash what I've said, but I have flown a lot recently between Florida and California, Los Angeles, Long Beach, and San Francisco, and Jacksonville, Florida. And I've gone, through security at each one, and, of course, and I always get picked to go to the body scan thing. And of course, this freaks me out. I wear a packer, I wear a harness, I didn't know if it would show up. In Jacksonville especially, I was worried. I figured at least in California, especially San Francisco, they would have some trans sensitivity training. But here in the conservative South, it definitely was on my mind. One thing, walk into there with confidence and just do what you have to do. They scan the whatever. I have worn a packer each time. Like I said, it was fine. I was really worried, flying between here and California, and having this conversation with this woman I was dating at the time, and I was telling her I was so anxious, to go through the body scan. I knew I'd get picked. She was like, well, just be upfront, really sure of yourself, confident, just be like, I'm an FTM transsexual, or whatever you feel comfortable saying, and just say this is a prosthetic, a medical prosthetic, it's a urinary device, if you want to add that. If you want to look, go ahead. But just be really, sure of yourself, because I know at one point in my transition, especially the first 2 years, I had some incidents at airports, and I was just so nervous. I don't even know if I could have said this, but now I feel more confident in this, and like, hey, this is what's going on, because that is, and you got nothing to hide, and tell it like it is, and hopefully it turns out well. But I have not had any problems. I know other people have, but I've also heard a lot of people that have gone through just fine. Just try not to worry, as hard as that is, and approach it with confidence, and if anything, carrying a carry letter might help, and I'll go over the carry letter in a minute with the next topic, which is legal stuff. So I've flown in a number of points throughout my transition, from free T, which I just got the ticket to my female name, to where, going for surgery or whatnot, or flying just before surgery, and my name was not changed. So flying with your name not changed. This can be a pain in the ass, especially if you're not in a place like San Francisco, because I actually flew out of San Francisco once and my name was not changed, and they called me sir the whole time. Hello, SF. It's, should be called Trans Francisco. But anyways, I remember especially this one time. I was going to Atlanta from Jacksonville, and my name was not changed, and my reservations were made in my female name. The car reservations were made in Christina/Charles, which is a whole nother story. But at the airport, and this is where the carry letter comes in, I go to check in, and I'm with the woman I'm dating at the time, Courtney, and I'm holding all the stuff. I'm presenting the ID for the tickets. I'm clearly the one flying, the one traveling, and the guy keeps addressing her because, the name is Christina on the tickets. And so finally, it comes to the point where, got checking the bag and stuff, and I hand him the ID, and I'm putting the bag down. He's like, whoa, what are you doing, man? And I'm like, I'm the one flying. This does not go over well. This is the only time, the only instance I've ever had to use my carry letter. And little side note, a carry letter is a letter you can get from your psychologist, psychiatrist, your therapist, whoever is your person you've gone to get the letters to transition, and it just says something like, dear whoever, my name is the doctor's name, and I am the doctor for your name. If you haven't had your name changed, you put your female name and then put also known as, this person is under my care. He is living medically and socially 24 hours a day as a male, and please do whatever you can to assist in this process. So you're under a doctor's care. I know that carries some stigma for some people, but this really saved my butt. And you can Google carry letters. If I can, I'll try to find an example and post a link to them. So basically it just has some documentation saying, you're living as male, especially if your name is not changed, your female name, your legal name, which is on your identification, and then AKA what you go by. So this man was just so weirded out that it's my license. I look male, but the license looks different. He is not convinced. So I pull out my carry letter, and I use that for the first time, and I want to say this guy literally took like 20 minutes poring over this letter, looking back, my ID, looking at me, and I'm thinking, I'm gonna miss my plane, I'm not gonna get through security. And he keeps looking, he goes, talks to his boss, whatever, still it's kind of weird, and then all of a sudden he goes, okay. And then going through security, I was already really just frazzled from that incident, and I was going through and I have my ID out, it has to match the tickets, and the woman that, checks the name with the tickets, match or whatever, right there at the gate before you walk through security, she says, she pulls me aside and I'm like, oh God, and she goes, sir, excuse me, can I talk to you? I was like, okay, and I was like, fuck, and she goes, your gender is male, right? And I was like, crap, I'm carrying this ID that says Christina, female, blah, blah, and I look like a man, I have a goatee, whatnot. So I said, I just took a chance. I was so just like distraught. This is, at the beginning of my transition. I was only 6 months on T. I was not, didn't have that confidence yet built up to be like, hey, look, what's going on. I was just, frazzled from the guy. I said to her, I was like, ma'am, I'm actually going through a gender transition, and well, my ID, this is my ID, this is me, but, I'm male, blah, blah, and I showed her the letter real quick, but she didn't really need to see it, and this woman was so sweet, and she hugged me. She goes, honey, good for you, and she goes, you have a good day, and she hugged me, and that was just like, oh. And, coming back from Atlanta, the 3 days I was in Atlanta, I was so anxious the whole time about going to the Atlanta airport and dealing with it in Atlanta, so I left, like, at 8 in the morning for a 12 o'clock flight. Well, I got to sit in the airport for 3 hours because security was not as bad as I thought. It didn't take as long to go through. And then the woman who was checking the IDs didn't even look up when I handed her my ticket and my ID. And it says Christina, the license says Christina. She didn't look up and see a man carrying it. I was just like, what? And I was like, great, well, I had to wait at the gate for 3 hours. But it just shows you how different experiences can vary even on the same trip. I leave Jacksonville, it was a nightmare, and that is the worst story. That's the worst I've had. So that's why for, before name change documents, any legal stuff has been done, trying to get a carry letter. So, I leave Jacksonville and it was just a nightmare, and then leaving Atlanta in the same trip was cake. So you never know how it's going to be. I always seem to I'm always one picked for body scans. Even before that, they always pick me for the special whatever. I'm always carrying cameras and 2 laptops, and it takes me forever to go through security, but I'm always that guy that's picked. But just don't sweat it too much. Get a carry letter, you'll be fine. So packers and binders, I would never not fly with my packer or binder. Talking to other friends, some people might be fine leaving it in your check baggage. Do what makes you comfortable. If you're fine going without a packer, do it if it stresses you out. If not, I don't see any problem with wearing it. I've never had a problem. I wear my packer pretty much everywhere. I think the only time I've really ever taken it off was to get my boobs cut off. I don't know. I was like, should I wear this during surgery? Anyways, I don't think it's a problem. As for carrying T, I have flown with T a lot. If you have check baggage, just put the needles in the T with your prescription clearly marked with your check stuff, and if any, they'll go through it, should be fine. I've had people raffle through my stuff, the TSA people, and they didn't touch the testosterone. It is a controlled substance, so, you do want your prescription printed out, or at least clearly labeled, whatever, so they know, don't rip your name off it and stuff and just have it. If you don't check any bags, just bring it on your carry-on. I brought T on a carry-on, I'm pretty sure. If you can get needles wherever your destination is when you get off the plane, just get needles there. It might be easier than traveling with them and bringing them on the carry-on. But once again, if you have to bring needles, just, put everything in a bag. Make sure your prescription is right there, and most people will not question it. I got actually a lighter accidentally, and a pocket knife and all this other stuff through when I went through to San Francisco, through the my carry-ons, which I thought was funny, which I found later, and I was like, they didn't find this stuff. I didn't even know I had a pocket knife in there. You should be fine with all of those things. I'll put a link to my recent video on my own channel about the TSA body scans, went into a little more detail, and that's it. Hope you guys are well and have a great weekend. Peace.